Let me catch my breath. What's up, guys? Welcome back to the Chemically Imbalanced Black Girl Podcast, aka your favorite weekly FaceTime call. We're on episode 27 now, and I feel like today's episode is going to be very, very chaotic. So, little fun fact, I always say, this is like this podcast is like a FaceTime call. So, fun fact, the idea that I originally had for this podcast, once I got through all the names, because this podcast had like 82 names when I was first making it, I was like, what is it actually going to be called? But after I got the name settled, I was working on like intros or the intro music, and the intro sound, like the opening sound to this podcast, was going to be like the FaceTime call ringer, and then the answer sound, and then that's when I was going to be like, what's up, guys, welcome back. But I started thinking about that, and I was like, what if that's like a triggering sound for people? You know how when you hear like the Apple alarm clock on like TV shows and movies, and like something in your like brain and heart just starts to like malfunction? It's just like, oh my God, turn it off immediately. Like, I was like, what if that is what the FaceTime call does to people? Like, I don't want to hear any of my phone sounds in anything that I'm watching for pleasure. You know what I mean? So I just decided to not go with that, because I was like, I don't want anybody to be irritated off rip when they first start listening to my podcast. I was like, I don't want to trigger anybody. I'm so grateful that Zoe hit me up and was like, hey girl, you're struggling very hard and I have something that can help you. And I was like, I'm so glad that you noticed, because I really am. Like, I really am. I was just opening up the podcast like, what's up, y'all? Here we go. Like, Zoe definitely changed the whole vibe and like the trajectory of this podcast. That intro is really special to me, and I'm very grateful for her. But before I start, y'all, the love and the support that I've gotten from the merch is crazy. I did not expect anybody to purchase one thing. And I know I say that all the time. I know I used to say that about people listening to this podcast. I am but just one person. I am literally a nobody, y'all. So when people actually like want to support me and show me love, I'm always just like, why? Like, me? That's so insane. And so many people have bought t-shirts and hoodies and sweaters, and it's just blowing my mind. Every time I get a notification that somebody's bought something, I start to tear up, because I'm just like, you spent your hard working money on me, basically. Like, that is insane. That's crazy. And I'm very, very, I don't even know how I feel. Like, I'm just happy. The merch is only out for about 12 more days. If you haven't purchased anything, at least look at it and tell me, like, girl, that is so cute. This is the first merch I've ever dropped for this podcast, and I designed it myself. They come in so many cute colors. I got mine. I'm going to take a selfie in the sweaters, even though I really don't want to do that. I will, and I'm going to post it on the podcast Instagram page so you guys can see how they look, how vibrant the colors are, and everything. Like I said, they're only going to be available for about 12 more days. This is the first batch. Now, I'm going to wait a couple months to do another set of merch. It's going to look totally different, though. I really want the logo to be on the merch, right? But the reason I didn't do that this time is because I did a lot of test runs, and I showed it to a lot of people, and everybody was like, disgusting, take the logo off, only put the words up there. And I was like, oh, okay, all right, cool. But as this podcast grows, and as my creative juices start to come in, because you guys know I don't have any, but as they start to flow and as I get more confident in everything, then the merch is just gonna get better and better and better. And a lot of y'all, actually, a girl DM'd me like 2 or maybe 1 or 2 days ago, it was like, I really wish you would reconsider on the stickers, because I would buy them. And it's got me thinking, like, I am gonna do that. So thank you guys so much. I know that was a little ramble, but I just wanted to say thank you for everybody who wants to buy merch, has bought merch, or is considering buying it. Thank you so much. That is so sweet, and I'm very happy. Okay, let's get right into the episode. I have first an Am I the Asshole for you guys. And I know last episode I said that this, the whole point of this podcast was like very like unhinged, all over the place type topics. But I really do think I want to keep Am I the Assholes in, because I always either have a personal one or I always find a good one on Reddit. My favorite thing about picking an Am I the Asshole is because you guys know most podcasts have 2 or more people, so you get to have multiple opinions on whether that person is an asshole or not. But I try to pick ones that kind of put me on the fence, where I have to play devil's advocate for both sides, instead of just being like, well, yeah, you're the asshole, and that's just the end of it. I've got one from Reddit that I screenshotted. Last episode, it was like 4 paragraphs worth of Am I the Asshole, and I just summed it up. I just tried to memorize it, and I was like, why would you do that? That's when you have a whole phone, why would you do that? So this time I actually screenshotted it, and I'm gonna read it like I should have done in the first place. So this one goes, am I the asshole for not making child inclusive plans that someone in my friend group can't attend? It says, howdy guys. That's how you know. Never mind. So she says, howdy guys. Recently, my friend group has been divided by an issue. I have a group of 6 friends and their significant others from high school. All of us are in our mid-20s. The only person in our friend group is Jessica. Jessica, who has 2 young children and is a single mom. I'm the only person, I don't know why she wrote it like that. The only person in our friend group is Jessica, who has 2 young children and is a single mom. I'm the only person in my friend group that can host, as my husband and I own a decent-sized house and don't have anything stopping us from hosting. One of our friends doesn't want to host, 2 live with their parents and can't, another has a roommate and won't let them, etc. We all live in a rural area, so there isn't really anywhere to go for more than a quick dinner. So someone hosting is the only way we can all really hang out together. When I host, it's always later in the day, around 7 p.m.-ish. That's when most of us are off work. I also have a no children rule for my house, since my dog is afraid of children, and I honestly don't like kids anyway. My nephew yanked my dog's tail several times, so my dog growls at kids now. I had a gathering last weekend, a dinner time barbecue. Everyone was invited, same rules as norm. Jessica asked if she could bring her kids because she can't afford a babysitter, and neither of the kids' fathers are involved. I said no because of my dog, and also because I don't want her baby and her toddler at my house. The last time she brought them, she kept trying to push them off on other people so she could relax. Also, her toddler puked on my $5,000 couch, which I had to replace, and no, she didn't pay for it. Jessica blew up on me in the group chat and said that I'm always excluding her. I told her I'm not excluding her, I'm excluding kids, all kids. She's welcome to come if she finds someone to watch her kids. I also told her that she's welcome to host. She kind of went on about how none of that is possible, and now she isn't talking to anyone in the group chat. Our group chat is split in half because half think is my house, my rules. One said maybe if she screwed better guys, then maybe she'd have a babysitter. And 2 think I should just let her kids come. To be honest, if it was someone else, I would maybe cave, but I don't like Jessica that much, especially because she didn't pay for my couch replacement. Am I the asshole? So anybody who knows me personally is going to be like, oh God, Zari is going to think she's the asshole because Zari doesn't like kids. Anybody who knows me know that I don't like children. I just don't, But I found this one so 50-50 because I know what it feels like to be the friend that nobody really likes, like that backup friend, you know what I mean? And it feels like that's what Jessica is. It honestly sounds like nobody likes Jessica, and that's where the problem really is. Where she says, if it was anybody else, I would have caved, but I really just don't like Jessica anyway. So that defeats the whole portion of the Am I the Asshole, a part where it says, well, am I the asshole for not letting my friend bring her kids? What you should have said was, am I the asshole for not letting some bitch that I don't even really like bring her kids that I definitely don't like? That's what you should have said. Because if she was really your friend, first of all, you wouldn't have said that you don't really like her. And I just feel like there's other ways to go about it. Now, I do understand the girl who wrote this because I personally don't like kids. And if I'm ever having something at my house, there are no kids coming. That's just that. I'm sorry that you can't afford a babysitter, and I'm sorry that the fathers aren't in their child's life. However, that's not my issue. But what I would have done, had this been my friend, I'd have been like, we can go halvesies on a daycare, or a babysitter, or, I can hit up somebody in my family, see if you trust me, that if they can watch your kids or something. But if there isn't like a designated kids area at this gathering that we're having, I don't want kids around. There are no situations, unless you just love having kids around, where adults are around trying to do adult things, trying to have adult conversations, drinking adult drinks, and kids just spawn, and now all the adults are just excited. No, that's never happened in the history of children and adult spaces. Like I said, unless you just love having kids around doing childish ass shit. But, if we're all in our mid-20s, like she said, and we're trying to catch up, drink a little wine, maybe play some cards, talk about bullshit. Nobody wants a toddler screaming, funking up the place. You know what I mean? It's not the area where children should be in. Like I said, unless it was like, those parties where you have like kids are in the back rooms, the adults are outside or something like that. But there's only going to be two, and they're both yours, and they're not even old enough to be left by themselves. Get them the fuck away. Now, what I also understand is the whole dog situation. We all know that I love animals at this point, right? I have never been a fan of, or a person who participated in, having somebody come over my house that doesn't like animals and I put my animal away. This is his house. This is her house. This is my dog house. You better muscle the fuck up and be all right with my dog. Honestly, I wouldn't let you come in my house if my dog was going to jump on you, or if I couldn't control my dog. If you don't like dogs, I'm going to make sure my dog stays away from you. But what I won't do is lock her ass in the bathroom or another bedroom like she don't live here. Now, if I know my dog doesn't like kids and growls at kids and could potentially or would potentially bite a kid, that's low-key me having your kid's interests, at first hand. If I'm like, hey, I'm not willing to lock my dog up, and I know my dog might bite your kids, so I don't want your kids to come. Even though I really just don't want your kids to be at my house in general, this is just a safety precaution that I'm putting out because my dog has been traumatized by kids, and they're young kids too. And y'all know most of the time kids don't have no boundaries or no self-control when it comes to dogs. They be pulling their fur, yanking their tail, like she said, poking them in the eye and shit. Like, they be pissing dogs off. So, like, there's so many reasons why your kids just can't come to my house. And the very most important reason is just because I fucking said so. And like she said, she said that, you could host. Like, if you really want your kids to be a part of this, I don't have to host every time. You could host at, your house. Now, she didn't specify what Jessica's living situation is, but she said that Jessica said that wasn't possible. Okay. Now, there's just some things you're going to have to sacrifice when you have little babies like that, Sometimes when you have young kids, you just can't do certain shit. You know what I mean? And that's a given. There's so much sacrifice that comes in with motherhood, especially being a single mother, that I wouldn't have understood Jessica's reasoning for blowing up on me. I don't like kids. I don't want kids in my house. My dog doesn't like kids. You know this since the last time your kids came and your baby fucked my couch up, right? You lucky that you can even come back. You know what I mean? So I wouldn't have understood why she was mad at me, because that's a perfectly good reason for nobody's kids to come back to my house. The couch costs $5,000 fucking dollars and nobody put a penny in. You know what I mean? You better be lucky I'm having anything at my goddamn house still. Okay, so those are all the factors that I can understand the lady who wrote this from. But like I said, I also understand what it feels like to be Jessica, because like I said, back in Virginia Beach, I was always like the backup friend. Like, oh, if my real friends don't want to hang out, let's just see what Zari is doing. Or it's like, well, I originally was going to do this with so-and-so, but something fell through and now I'm going with you. Or, well, that's just how I was. I never really had friends who actually genuinely fuck with me. Even still to this day when I'm in Florida. I don't know what it is. I don't know what it is, y'all. I don't know what it is. I'm recognizing that it might be me, but we genuinely we will never know. So if I was in Jessica's shoes, I would be like, damn, like there's no way that my kids could come. Like, if I know last time I was handing them off to people, but y'all aren't realizing that I'm a single mom and it's hard. I'm trying to enjoy, this adult gathering with my friends. And, my kids are getting on my nerves. They want to be picked up. They want to cry. They're hungry. And if you guys are really my friends, then I would assume that you guys care for my kids and you wouldn't mind holding them or feeding them so I could relax and catch up with the rest of you guys. Also, if I was Jessica, if you know that the two fathers of my children aren't in my life. Why would you not have, obviously I'm going through a hard time being a single mom to a toddler and a newborn. Why would you not have some compassion for me and what I'm going through? You know what I mean? It's kind of like they're all just like, well, Jessica's a dumb bitch. She shouldn't have fucked two deadbeat dads. And now she's, you know what I mean? It kind of feels like nobody gives a fuck about Jessica and what Jessica is going through, especially because she's the only person in the group that has kids. It's like, y'all don't, this is like y'all friend we talking about. That's why I'm saying, like, it sounds like Jessica is just one of the people that just hung around them in high school and they couldn't get rid of her ass. Because, like, if it was really my friend, like somebody I considered a friend, and I'm assuming they're all the same age as me, they're in their mid-20s, I'm exactly in my mid-20s. Like, if this was somebody I considered a friend, I'd start another group chat with the rest of them and be like, hey, anybody got like $20 to spare? Let's throw something together and find Jessica a babysitter, you know what I mean, just for, you know, the night. Or even Jessica could spend the night if she wants to, just so she can, you know, not have to worry about picking her kids up at the end. That is what friends do in my mind, you know what I mean? But like I said, it just sounds like nobody fucks with Jessica. That whole comment about, you know, maybe she shouldn't have, if she screwed better guys, maybe she would have a babysitter, like that is off the wall. Granted, it might be true, but also it's just like, that's not what you say about your friends behind their back. You know what I mean? At least not in my opinion. So I can definitely understand Jessica not talking to anybody. Because first of all, one thing about me, I'll leave a group chat like it's nothing. Like I could be the one who made the group chat. I'll leave it the next day. Like if y'all piss me off, I'm leaving it. So I can really understand that. Like that's not a good feeling. Like, okay, my friends know I'm struggling. I understand that you don't like kids, but I'm in a kind of fucked up position right now, and it's even more fucked up that you aren't willing to put your dislike for children aside for somebody that you consider a friend, or at least I thought somebody that you considered a friend. You know what I mean? It's like don't kick a horse while it's down. You know what I mean? It's just like, help me. I'll make sure that they don't puke on your couch. You know, I'll make sure they sit in one designated area, but it's like, it's literally like, you know, throw your kids in the trash or just don't come to my house. And that's, with friends, that's just not a good feeling. It's just like, damn, so you just hate everything that has to deal with me. You don't like my kids. You really don't even like me for real. And it's showing through the, you know, you're just not, it's showing through how much compassion you just don't have for me and how much understanding you're not giving me, because I literally don't have enough money to find a babysitter. Unfortunately, the two fathers are not in their life. What do you want me to do about this? And the answer is just, well, just don't come. Yeah, I mean, at this point, fuck all y'all. Like, what? I would be so hurt if I was Jessica. Like, I can understand you not liking kids, and I can understand why you're upset that I didn't help you pay for your couch. It's not that I didn't want to. I couldn't. I can't afford a babysitter. What makes you think I can go halvesies on a $5,000 couch? Like, let's be honestly, like, let's be fucking for real. I can't. I can't. And so, you know, that would genuinely hurt my feelings if I was Jessica and be like, my friends don't give a fuck about me and they aren't willing to help me when I'm down. You know, it's either, you know, be on our level or get the fuck out of the group chat or get the fuck out of our lives. It's just, I don't know, y'all. That one really had me on the fence. And I'm surprised it had me on the fence because I genuinely don't like children. Like, I can perfectly see myself being like the girl who wrote this and being like, hey, you gotta do something about them goddamn kids. Them kids not coming in my house. We either gotta put them in the bathroom or I don't know, Jessica, they just not coming. But since I perfectly understand both of them 50-50, it's kind of like I can't say that she's not the asshole, but I also can't say that she is the asshole. Hey, y'all, that one really had me in like a little like 50-50 pickle, because I was like, I really do understand both sides so perfectly, but I just can't like make a decision on if she's the asshole or not. I've gotten really good at DMing me on like TikTok and Instagram. Let me know what you think about that, or if you've been in a situation like that where like you said something or you tried to establish like rules in your like own shit and somebody was just like, why can't you just bend the rules to me? Which I understand, but like also it's just like, so I don't know. Okay, y'all, so the next topic I want to talk about is something that I've started to notice is a trend, and I don't know if it makes me uncomfortable or it's just weird that it's a trend, but let me just tell y'all what I mean. I've been seeing a plethora of like weddings and stuff like that, and I've been seeing like the men, waiting for their wife to walk down, the aisle, and they're up at the altar crying their eyes out, right? And I'll read the comments and it'll be like, if my man isn't crying, we got to restart the whole wedding. Or if my man isn't crying, like, we not getting married, or I expect this and nothing else from my man, right? And so now every time I see a video of that, it's so easy to pick out what man is actually crying and what man is just crying because he's scared of what his wife gonna say if he don't cry. Or like he's just crying for the cameras, right? And it gives me the fattest ick I've ever had in my entire life. There was a recent famous wedding that I watched, and I'm not gonna say, well, I don't care who it was. I don't care. I watched like a part of Simone Biles' wedding because I thought she looked good, and I love when Black women do anything and wear their natural hair when it's supposed to be like a special occasion. So I was like, oh my God, she looked good. He looked good. They ate. But when it was time for her to like walk to the altar and that man started crying, I was like, this nigga is not crying for real. I was like, he is not sad whatsoever. Like, he is probably very happy that they're getting married because she looked gorgeous. But I was like, can nobody else except me notice when motherfuckers are not really crying for real? I was like, he is not crying. Them tears, he is forcing it. Whenever you gotta blink hard to let your tears fall out, you are not genuinely crying. And I don't know if that would have pissed me off or not. Like, you don't have to do that. You don't have to do that. If any man or woman that I marry forces like tears out of their eyes just for whatever reason, I would pull that veil up so fast and be like, you need to stop. Like, this ain't that. Like, I would much rather for my wife or my husband, when I walk down the aisle, to be like, God damn, like, just damn, I'm sorry y'all, but damn, she look good as hell. Like, I would much rather them do that than to be doing some fake ass crying. Because I can read a fake ass cry from anywhere. Like, don't do that. I don't know why that's been bothering me so much, y'all, but it is not a requirement. And I think that's why so many men are starting to cry now, because they've been in too many like comment sections and all the women are like, if my husband don't, he better cry. Like, and it's just like, if you are just a crier and you're gonna cry, that's that's perfectly fine. If you see your beautiful wife or husband walking down the aisle and all you can do is bubble up and cry, and I think that's beautiful. I think that's one of the most beautiful things about a wedding. But if I have never seen you cry a day in my life and you decide to force out some fake ass crocodile tears, I'm gonna punch you in the mouth before we get married. I'm the work truck going 80 in my neighborhood. That's crazy. But have y'all seen that? Do y'all know what I mean? I love genuine emotions, and y'all know I struggle with a lot of my emotions. So I think that's why I have such an easy like time picking up when they're genuine or not. But I just don't like that. Like, you do not have to cry. It's okay. As long as you are excited to marry this woman, as long as you are loyal to this woman, and as long as you feel joy about the occasion that's happening, you do not have to force no damn tears out. No matter how many comments of women you read, oh, my husband better cry, or we not getting married, I promise you still gonna get married if you don't cry. Like, don't fake the emotions. Like, it'll be better in the long run when y'all looking back at the pictures and the videos and you're just feeling the emotions that you wanted to feel. This is a quick little rant that I wanted to get out because I saw like 3 of them today when I woke up, and I was just like, you know what? Enough is enough. I don't know why that bothered me so much. I have a story time that I want to tell y'all, and I hate talking about religion on this podcast, but I feel like this is a good story to tell. Now, as a non-religious person, I don't ever think like it's my place to talk about religion at all, because I would hate to be like a hypocrite. If it's not my thing, like I said a couple episodes back, you would never find me talking about something that I have no interest in or I don't have enough knowledge about because at this point, if you want to just crash into my house, that's fine, because there's no reason you should be going that fast on the street. Anyway, but until I get put in a situation where I have to explain myself, right? So I want to tell y'all something that happened to me a couple days ago. it something that happened to me like I'm a victim of something. Nothing happened to me. I just want to tell y'all a conversation that I had with somebody a couple days ago. Before I start telling this story, I want y'all to know that y'all will never catch me religion shaming on this podcast. Like, I would never talk down on someone's religion to make myself feel satisfied. I just want to put that disclaimer out there because this ain't that. Like, this ain't finna be that. The other day, I had just finished a workout, and every time I finish my workout, I go right next door to Starbucks. And because I do this so often, there's one guy that works in there. His name is Micah. Me and Micah chop it up like 30, 45 minutes every time I go in there because sometimes Micah the only motherfucker working in there, right? So we basically friends, right? That's what I'm saying. So I just, if it's not, and I usually go to the gym early in the morning. So for some reason, this Starbucks just isn't that busy early in the mornings, right? So on this particular day, when I go to Starbucks, right, drink in hand, like we're literally just chatting it up, right? So I forgot what we were talking about. We were talking about like something. I think we were talking about like parents or something like that. And we started like joking. So this lady joins in and like we all kikiing and stuff like that. And I was like, okay, random lady, like that's cool, that's funny. It was an older lady, right? So I was like, all right, Stang, come on, jump in the conversation. So we go on a tangent about something else. And I could tell that she was about to walk away. But before she walked away, like randomly, she just turned to me and she was like, do you mind if I say a prayer for you? Older lady, right? And I was like, wait, what? I'll pause the story right here because y'all need to know that this question always triggers me. Like, I literally cannot tell y'all how many times I've been cussed out for not being religious. Like, I've been told I'm going to hell so many times. Like, a bitch really thought I had a room booked, like hot towels and everything. Like, I thought like my space was reserved. I was like, well, damn. Now, I did give this lady the benefit of the doubt because I'm not even gonna lie, y'all. I probably look like somebody that you just need to pray for. You know what I'm saying? Like, so I wasn't even mad. I was like, I give her that. I look like somebody that you should. I like politely declined, and I was like, oh, no, thanks. Like, and I'm trying to be funny. I was like, don't waste a blessing on somebody who, isn't going to receive it properly. I'm just lighthearted response, right? But this lady goes, well, what makes you think you won't receive it? Now, let me pause again, right? Because from this point on, everything was my fault, right? And I need y'all to know that I'm aware of that, okay? Should have just let her say the prayer. And she could have just gone on about her day, and so could I. Like, honestly, I regret it now. I should have just said yes, ma'am, and let her do her thing, and that just would have been the end of it. At this point, I'm trying to find like the quickest, most lighthearted, most respectful response, because not only is this a stranger, but we like in the middle of Starbucks. Now, we not being loud or anything, but like, this ain't really a conversation you have to a stranger or to somebody in the middle of a Starbucks. Still trying to be jokey. And I'm like, me and religion don't have that good a relationship for me to be out here getting random prayers, right? And I start laughing. And Micah started laughing too because, like, I'm thinking we like jokey, right? Y'all, when I tell y'all this lady's face was straighter than a Burberry button-up, she was not fucking playing with me. And I was like, oh, Lord. Like, literally, here we go. Oh. She goes, so you're an atheist? And I was like, no. She was like, but you don't believe in God. That means you're an atheist. And now I'm getting upset because it's like she trying to gaslight me into saying I'm an atheist when I never even told her that I don't believe in God. Like, what is happening right now? Now we deep in this conversation. Now I'm not going to let it go because, like, if you want to talk about it, let's talk about it. So I say, I don't believe in religion. I believe in God, just not yours. I said I used to be, spiritual and stuff, but my brain couldn't handle it. So now I just don't believe in any religion. It was like, that means you're an atheist. I was like, lady, say atheist one more time in a Starbucks. I'm going to bite the back of your fucking Achilles off. Like, I wasn't getting mad to the point where I was showing it. But in my mind, I was like, hey. I reiterated again. I said, well, I believe in the possibility of a God, but I can't practice or participate in like any religion and the conformity that comes with it, right? Like, I'm well aware that some form or some sort of like omnipotent being like has been or is or exists. I just can't practice in the religions because I don't believe in that. Not the fact that God isn't real, right? That a God doesn't exist. Whole time I'm thinking I'm explaining this wonderfully, right? I'm looking at Micah. Micah shaking his head at me like, yeah, like, you doing good. I'm like, I know. I think I'm doing a wonderful job explaining this. I'm not being disrespectful, even though I never would. You know what I mean? Lady goes, I'm just not understanding how that's not the definition of atheist. Definition of atheist is somebody who doesn't believe in God, right? Never said that. I believe in God of some sort. I just don't practice the religions that come with following him. Y'all know what I'm trying to say. I don't got to explain myself to y'all. Y'all get it. This lady was just, I don't know. I think she wanted me to just grow horns out of my head at this point. I don't know what she wanted from me. Of course, y'all know the famous question comes, like it always does. She asked me if I believe in the devil, or basically she was asking me if I worship the devil. Y'all had to be there to hear the way she asked me this goddamn question, right? And I know she wanted me to say yes. Like, in her mind, asking me if I worship or believe in the devil was the only solution in her brain for me not being religious or believing in the God that she believes in. The question always offends me because you're not listening to my words. Yes, I'm not religious, but I'm also not an idiot. So say I believe in the devil just as much as I told you I believe in God. Like, there's a possibility, but I don't worship him. I'm not afraid of him. He holds no subject in my brain, and he holds no section in my heart. Right? Like, I don't base my life choices off of heaven and hell or God or the devil. I genuinely want to be a good person, and I know what it takes to be a good person. And that is what I do with my life, you know? That's what I was telling her. Pause the story again. I have no issue with holding relationships that have different beliefs or values or anything like that, right? As long as, like, the resulting human behind those difference in beliefs and values doesn't, like, kill, assault, or deny, like, basic human rights for anyone. Like, other than that, we can believe in two different things and have values on different things and still be cool. I do not hold no animosity in my heart for someone who chooses to believe in a religion that keeps them a decent human being ever in my heart. That's why I told y'all will never catch me up here religion shaming, because that's not what I stand for. That's not what I do. After I explained to her that I don't worship the devil, because I think that's what most people think an atheist is, even though I'm not an atheist. I'm really not. I think most people think that when you're an atheist, you believe in God, but you worship the devil. That's not true, even though I don't identify as an atheist, because I never said that I don't believe in God. I was ready to start yelling at this lady, but I didn't, because I was raised with decorum about having, touchy subject conversations with strangers in the middle of Starbucks. So I was very quiet and respectful with my answers, but I really didn't want to be. After, like I said, all the explanation, the way this lady was looking at me made me realize that I just wasted 26 minutes of my youthful life talking to ears that were built from two brick walls. Like, she didn't care. She didn't fully understand what the hell I was saying at all, y'all. Like, at all. After, a couple more words were exchanged, because I don't ever like to back down against conversations when I'm having to prove, or I'm just having to explain what I believe in, or what I stand for, or what I think is genuinely right? I don't ever back down for a conversation. It never has to get heated. It never makes me feel any type of way. But if you want to have the conversation, let's have the conversation. You know what I mean? I'm not one of those people to be like, oh no, I don't want to talk about it. Let's talk about it. It literally took Micah to be like, okay, honey, like we were, thank you for that conversation, but we were trying to catch up, a little bit before it started getting crazy in here, because I don't get off until 3, and she got somewhere to be. So the old lady goes, well, all right, I'll leave you young ladies alone. You young ladies have a nice day. And that really bothered me too, because Micah is very obviously a trans man. And when I say very obviously, very visibly a trans man, I mean like mustache, beard, you know what I mean? Like, it's not, like, it's obvious. And I don't know if this wasn't obvious to her old ass eyes, but when that lady said that, the contact that me and Micah held for about 8 seconds was crazy, because I was just like, oh, she was just one of them. Like, we were just talking to a crazy person. I'm thinking that this is a sweet old lady that just wants me to change my life around and open my life up to God, when she just disrespected you right in your face. Like, she was just one of them old people that just be walking around disrespecting the fuck out of people, young people, no matter what they say, what they believe in, what they stand for, or anything, or how respectful they are. She just had all disrespect to dish out and nothing to receive. Even though that entire conversation was a literal drag, I'm so glad we had it, because not only Micah was like, girl, you better than me, because I would have walked away a long time ago. Another one of Micah's coworkers was like, I have literally never heard anybody say that before, and you handled yourself so well, because I would have started crying. And that made me weak, because I was like, not start crying, but you could tell that this lady was trying to get me to admit that I was like a monster. I was like, why is this conversation happening right now? And y'all, I was explaining it so perfectly to her. But I think to some people who have been either religious all their life, or just some old people, y'all know old people are just stuck in their ways. They don't know how to open their minds up to something that they don't know or never heard of. So, like I said, it was a waste of a conversation, but I'm glad that the surrounding people heard it, because they were just like, I respect that. Like, that's admirable, especially for you not to give up on the conversation or just shut the conversation down, and especially not get upset. It never upsets me to talk about that, because I'm not trying to persuade religious people to come to my side, like, come to the dark side. Like, I'm not trying to do that. I love when people have religions, or just have faith in what they believe in. And like I said, that guides them to be decent human beings. Like I said, as long as they don't rape, assault, or deny basic human rights for people, that is beautiful. But I just want the same respect and admiration to come when I tell people my side, instead of people saying, oh, you need to change your life. Your life is terrible. Like, you don't believe in anything. Like, how are you even like a person? I'm just like, you know what? Okay, so that's the conversation, y'all, that I had in Starbucks with the old random lady for about 45 minutes. And I don't think I'm ever going to forget that in my entire life. And I talked about this. I called my mom and I talked about it. And I was like, I really want to talk about this on the podcast. And she was like, no, because my mom, y'all know, I've talked to my mom several times on here. Y'all know my mom is a diehard Christian. That girl loved Jesus like that's her man, right? And so she told me not to talk about it on the podcast because she didn't want me to offend anybody. And I was like, I can't express enough how much what this story means to me shouldn't offend anybody who is religious, right? And the number one reason I wanted to talk about it is because that episode, I think it was like episode 7 or 8, when the episode called Trying to Fight Spirituality with Depression, I got so many comments on that episode about people being lost in their religion, or growing up in a certain religion, and as they get older, they're finding out that this isn't the religion for them. It's just the one that's been taught to them. And now they kind of feel like a rogue person because they don't know what end of the religion spectrum to fall on. You have trans people that want to be religious but don't know if they're welcome into it. You have, gay people that love God but don't know if the feelings are, mutual. So it's so many different people out here that struggle with religion, all like lengths of religion, and they just don't know how to put it into words. And because I'm not afraid to put it into words, and because it's truly what I believe deep in my heart, there's no wavering of it. I can tell that it gives some people comfort, even though they might truly want to pick a religion that fits them. The way I'm talking about how no religion fits me gives them comfort, because that might be the transitioning point that they're in right now. Y'all, I hope that made sense. Oh my God, I'm sweating talking about that because it's such a touchy subject. I always just want to make sure that I'm not being offensive and I'm not like talking or speaking out of ignorance, because I'm just telling, my opinions and my stories and my beliefs and stuff like that. I'm going to end this episode very, very, I'm just going to end this episode on something that I want to say, and I don't want to explain myself, right? Because I heard my dad say it the other day, and I wanted to argue with him a little bit about it, but I've learned to just not argue with that man, because that man, he goes from 0 to a million real quick, right? But my parents are very hell-bent on intent, right? As long as your intentions were good, you can do just about anything you want to them people, right? And I am complete opposite. Y'all know I'm adopted, so I am the complete opposite. I don't give a goddamn what your intentions was. If it hurt my feelings or it made me upset, we got to talk about it. So I'm going to end this episode with something that I've been thinking since I heard him say that. And like I said, I'm not going to explain myself. Maybe I'll explain myself in the next episode, because I've been rambling, y'all. I've been rambling, okay? But to me, in my personal opinion, if you only care about intent, the intentions of other people, and you never care about the principle or the technicalities of what people say or what people do or how people act, you can never really understand uproar or emotions or anger or any type of I just don't feel like you can truly be open-minded to have a conversation about emotions. You know what I mean? Just because somebody's intentions were pure or, good, doesn't mean that they don't. This is why this is why I didn't want to explain myself, because it's hard to. But just because somebody's intentions were pure doesn't mean that they didn't totally disregard boundaries and principles and things like that. You know what I mean? You have to look, if you're going to have these open-minded conversations about certain things, you need to break down the context clues of what's really going on. Just because somebody's, like I said, I keep saying, just because somebody's intentions were pure doesn't mean that there isn't a hidden agenda behind that. You know what I mean? So that's all I wanted to say, guys. I just wanted to end the episode there, and maybe when I think about it a little bit more, I'll have some extra things to say about that. But that's all I wanted to say. Okay, guys, that's the end of the episode. Please don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. We are on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and your girl's on TikTok. Let's make this podcast the podcast. Okay, y'all? I want to hear you talk about it in the streets. 5 stars if you're feeling frisky, and 5 stars even if you're not. All the beautiful music in this episode is by the amazing Zoe Marie. Zoe's music can be found on all streaming platforms, so please go listen and love it just like I do. And I'll see you guys in the next episode.